We've covered a lot of ground in this crash course. To wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways and some actionable insights you can apply. Google Consent Mode V2 is essential, especially for 2024 onwards. If you have not implemented it yet and you operate in regions like the EU or UK, it should be a top priority. Google requires it for full ads and analytics functionality. It's not just a suggestion. Implementing GCM v2 ensures your website remains compliant and that you don't lose critical data, which Google will otherwise model or block if consent isn't properly managed. Consent management protects you legally and preserves data. A robust consent mechanism, CMP plus consent mode, helps you avoid hefty fines. Remember those multi-million euro penalties for poor cookie practices. At the same time, it lets you maintain analytics and ad performance via privacy-safe data collection and modeling. In other words, it strikes a balance between compliance and insight. Neglecting consent means legal risk and lost data. Managing it well means user trust and smarter marketing decisions. Implement with a structured approach. Use tools like Google Tag Manager to implement consent mode systematically. Set default states to denied for all consent types before any tags fire. Update consent state immediately when the user makes a choice. Leverage GTM's built-in consent checks and triggers, consent initialization, to ensure no tag runs amok. This structured approach ensures your site behavior aligns with user intent every time. Basic versus advanced mode. Know your strategy. Decide whether you will operate in basic, no data until consent, or advanced, anonymous pings without consent mode. Advanced mode can recover conversion data via modeling, benefiting your ad performance, but make sure your organization is comfortable with the concept. It's still compliant as personal data isn't used, but it's collecting minimal info from users who opted out. If you choose basic mode for a stricter stance, be aware of the trade-off: more blind spots in data. Either way, configure accordingly and be consistent. Keep consent UX user-friendly. Simplicity and clarity in your consent prompt can improve opt-in rates. Clearly state what the benefits of consenting are. E.g., we use cookies to improve your experience, analyze traffic, and serve personalized ads with your permission. Make sure there's an easy way to say no or manage preferences. A higher consent rate equals more data for you within the bounds of law. This is an actionable area. You can test different wording or designs within legal guidelines to see what yields the best engagement and trust. Regularly test and audit. Don't set and forget. Use Tag Assistant and other tools to test your implementation, especially after any changes. Schedule periodic audits to ensure no new tags bypass consent and that all is working as intended. Catching an issue early, like a tag that accidentally started firing before consent, can save you from both compliance issues and skewed data. Monitor impact on analytics and ads. Keep an eye on how consent mode is affecting your metrics. Check Google Ads for modeled conversions and understand those reports. Educate your team that some conversion numbers are modeled estimates. Also, watch audience sizes for remarketing. Expect reductions and adjust your marketing tactics accordingly. Maybe invest more in context or first-party data as noted. The actionable insight here is to adjust campaign strategies based on the new data reality. For example, if remarketing pools shrink, consider other channels or messaging to reach those users. Stay agile with privacy changes. Build an internal process to keep your consent strategy up to date with laws. Make someone or a team responsible for tracking privacy news. When a new regulation or platform policy comes, convene, update the CMP settings or consent text, and deploy well ahead of deadlines. Being proactive here is key. It avoids last-minute scrambles and potential service interruptions, like having ads paused due to non-compliance. Invest in first-party data and trust. As we move toward a privacy-centric future, strategies that rely on direct user relationships will win. Encourage logins, gather preferences, and be transparent about use. Users are more likely to consent or share data if they trust you. This isn't a one-week fix, but a long-term direction. Start laying the groundwork now, e.g., improve your privacy policy readability, highlight your commitment to privacy in communications. Documentation and education. Document what you've implemented, the consent states, triggers, etc. This helps onboard others or troubleshoot later. Also, educate colleagues. Share this knowledge so that marketing, dev, and legal are on the same page. A well-informed team will naturally incorporate privacy considerations in their work, strengthening your overall compliance posture. Action items. Post-course. To make this concrete, here are a few things you can do right after this session. Audit your current setup. Identify which tags on your site need consent control and whether consent mode v2 is fully in place. Pick a CMP or implementation plan. If you don't have a CMP, research and choose one. If you do, ensure it's configured for GCM v2 signals and integrated with GTM. Implement or upgrade to consent mode v2. Follow the step-by-step guide we outlined to put it on your site. If you are on v1, upgrade those scripts to include the new parameters. Test thoroughly. Use dev tools and tag assistant to verify the behavior for consent, given and denied scenarios before going live. Review your privacy messaging. Perhaps run it by a fresh set of eyes or compare with industry best examples to ensure clarity and compliance. Set up monitoring. As soon as it's live, set a calendar reminder for regular checks and possibly implement analytics events to measure consent interactions. By focusing on these takeaways and actions, you'll strengthen your organization's privacy compliance and also maintain your ability to use data effectively. Ultimately, good consent management is not a hindrance but a foundation for sustainable analytics and advertising in the modern era. It builds user trust, which is invaluable in the long run. Thank you for joining this course. You've learned why consent management, and Google Consent Mode v2 in particular, is so important and how to implement it step by step. With this knowledge, you can confidently enhance your site's privacy practices and keep your marketing data flow compliant and robust in 2025 and beyond. Good luck and happy compliant tracking.